Hello and welcome. Today we bring you back two of our guest speakers, Dr. Gandhi and Dr. Singh, who you would have watched earlier. Welcome, Dr. Gandhi and Dr. Singh.
Thank you, Dr. Kashyap.
Thank you, Dr. Kashyap, for inviting us.
Absolutely. They have done with their interview season at this point, as we know that they are already working as a research scholar at the world's premium institution in clinical research, and they were blessed with so many interviews. And we just want to learn from them that, what worked out in their interviews, what did not work out, if there are any challenging questions, or if they have any tips for you all who are watching today for who will be applying in upcoming seasons for interviews. So I would like to start with Dr. Gandhi first. Dr. Gandhi, we know that you have been very successful. You prepared really well for interviews. You are a part for Toastmasters and so many different things. So can you share with you, in your experience in last couple of months, in this unusual season, what was your experience during this residency interviews at this time?
Well, as you said, that it was an unusual year, and we tried to make the best of it. What uh, it has been, I think it has been a season of self-introspection, learning, and I have been very stressed, but I have enjoyed a lot. Getting to know about what I bring to the table and where I want to go has actually been a good journey for me. And as for the question, a lot of things worked for me. First being self-confidence. Secondly, preparation, practicing for the interviews. Thirdly, researching about the program, getting to know your CV and stuff like that. So, well, as I said, it has been a great learning experience.
Dr. Singh, same question for you.
So yeah, what worked out for me was, since it was an virtual season, which was the first virtual season for residency match, I was able to phase out all my interviews with good gaps in between, so that I was able to research about all my programs, how I'm going to interview there, and what I'm going to say, not say, which was different from the earlier seasons because eventually you have to go there, be there in person. So that was one of the pro, that I was able to space everything. But similarly, it has also the cons to the virtual season, since I was not able to go there in person. I was not able to have the proper entire feeling of the program, because you are going to spend your next 3 to 4 years, and even in your fellowship years or being a hospitalist there, you need to have a proper vibe, how the other people are there, because virtually everybody is on their best behavior, and you don't get to see the other side of it. So that were the pros and cons for this virtual season.
Absolutely, absolutely. If I ask this question, is what were the challenging questions you faced, or at least were challenging for you, which was unusual, which you were not expecting? And if you did so, give us an example, and then how you overcome those questions. At this time, I would like to start with you, Dr. Singh, if you can share with our audience.
Definitely, Dr. Kashyap. I believe one of the challenging situations that I faced during this virtual season was, it was the time constraint matter of the interviews. When usually what happened with me was that the PC, the program coordinator, used to come earlier, and then she used to divide us into different slots in Zoom or WebEx or any other sort of matter of virtual interaction. And we were given like time constraint phases. So you have to either speak like really fast, because there is a time clock ticking, and you are on the side of the eyes, you always visualize that. So once the time takes you like 5 minutes are remaining or a minute is remaining, so you have to speak very fast. Sometimes it also happened that the interviewers in a couple of my interview were changed last minute, so they were not being so technologically savvy. It was also a new process for the programs as well. They try to accommodate everything, but eventually you have to gauge how your temperament is during that interview, and usually go like that. So that was the challenging situation at first, but later on I was able to phase out everything.
No, you're right. This year was unusual, and technology was new for both, not only for candidates as well as for the programs as well. So I'm sure that many of you would have faced it, and many of you might face it as you go through that part. Same question to you, Dr. Gandhi.
I think I second Romil. We did face technological problems at both ends. Those were the situations. For me, the challenging thing was really getting to know the program, since we had very limited time with the faculty as well as the residents. So I had to actively engage myself in getting to know the culture of the place, as that was my aim. I want to go to a place where I can find myself in a supportive culture, that's that's professionally, that for my both professional and personal growth. So really getting to know the program was challenging. I think that's a challenge even in an in-person interview. So making active efforts, reaching out later on if you have a follow-up questions really helps. Coming to the question of challenging questions during interviews, personally, I find behavioral questions a bit challenging, and to answer them instantaneously is a challenge. And particularly when you have to think of stories or patient experiences on the spot. So what I did was, after the first couple of interviews, I just, introspected, and I came up with 2 to 3 patient scenarios which I could fit in a number of challenging patient related behavioral questions, and modify it a little bit here and there, and fit in as to how that story went and what I learned from it. And really getting a structure to my answers was another thing that I found challenging in the beginning, but later on I got the hang of it. So that was the challenge for me as far as I can think.
No, rightly said, and they could really be challenging, especially in this environment as well. So if I ask a question to both of you, anything unusual happened to you during the interviews? Something which was either too funny or too weird, which you want to share without revealing anybody's identity? You are most welcome to think about it or share here or during any time of the interview. So anything unusual or weird or funny happened during the interviews. So then other viewers can see that these things actually can happen and they can actually be prepared for that. Anything from any of you?
Well, not it's not something to be prepared for, but this is I think we are discussing about Zoom, so this is a perk of Zoom, that people could be in their comfort zone with their pets and kids here and there. So it was very enduring and very personal, and I think convenient as well. So that's something that I enjoyed, and people's pets coming and pouncing on the Zoom meeting. It was nice.
Dr. Singh?
For me, it was I just quickly got reminded about one of the situation where in one of the interviews, the program director went again and again behind the modem of the computer to check everything. So he got up in between and then went out of screen. So I was not sure whether I should keep speaking, or whether I should stop, acknowledge that he's not in the frame. So I just went with my best guess and kept off speaking. I later on acknowledged that if it was fine because I kept on speaking. Later on, I realized that he did the same thing with all the 8 interviewees on that day. So probably he was checking something, that how confident you guys were in the interview session. So I believe you have to be just be very, very prompt in the virtual interview thing. That's what I believe.
Wow, such a
I
go ahead.
wanted to add one thing. So this is something that can happen in both virtual and in-person interview. Some challenging situations come up. So one time my laptop crashed in between, and I actually lost the meeting. So I think what really helps is having the phone number or the contact number of the program coordinator at hand, and just calling them up if any challenging situation comes up. Both, I think it's very helpful to be in touch with the program coordinator throughout, in both a virtual session or in an in-person session. And they are actually are your best friends. They are going to help you navigate through it. If you miss your chance, miss an interview, a session, they would try to accommodate you somewhere or the other. So be nice to the program coordinators, be in touch with them. This is a thing that I have learned, and it's very important.
Absolutely, and thanks for sharing for those two anecdotal stories actually. And this can happen, and that's true. They're there to have you succeed. Nobody's trying to have make you fail, or miss out on interviews as well. So, if you can share, summarize your experience, this was so unusual, or any one or two tips you would like to have our audience who are watching this video right now. What would be your advice in that regard? Dr. Gandhi, Dr. Singh, anybody can go into that one.
I would piggyback on what Romil said. So, like he talked about spacing interviews, and what helped him by spacing interviews was really researching the programs. And I think it's very helpful. One should look up what's there, what the program offers, and if possible, ask them specific questions. This is an opportunity for you to get to know the program in and out, and this is the place, this might be the place where you would spend the next 3 years of your life. So research the program. And other than that, know your profile well. It's very easy to forget what's there on your long CV after you have had a gap of 10 days or 2 weeks after an interview. So keep revising that and see if something comes up, what question can potentially be asked, be prepared. And I think it's a red flag if you can't uh, speak confidently about what's there in your CV. So keep revising the CV and your personal statement. I think that's about it.
Absolutely, Roman.
I believe I would like to talk something about the hysteria that goes on with the USMLE match. They usually do check on your scores and everything, but regardless, it all comes down to your entire profile, because every time 24/7 you will not have a discussion about your scores with your program director or with your colleagues that you are speaking to. So regardless of how many interviews you get, even if you get a couple of interviews, or even if you get like 30, 35 interviews, you have to be prepared for all the interviews as much as possible. So I second Dr. Gandhi's opinion that we should be as much as prepared as we can be. We don't take anything for granted. Scheduling like easier interviews before and then the place you want to go to afterwards. You should always give your 100%, because you never know where you're going to end up. And that would be my 2 cents to anybody who would be applying next year, because it's regardless of being it a virtual season or an in-person season.
Fantastic. Go ahead, Dr. Gandhi.
No, I was just seconding Romil that it's very important to give your best shot at every place, because you do not know where you might end up, and what place will be your home for the next 3 years. And not just presenting yourself nicely, it's very important to even engage and getting to know the other side as well, because it's very important now that we are in the process of making a rank order list. It is important for us as well to get to know them, the vibe of the place and people, and make notes during your interviews. That's again another thing that I want to emphasize on. Keep, because you forget, it's a long season, it's 3 months worth of interviews, so just keep a track of things that are important to you, what you felt was good, what you did not feel was right, or again other objective things that if you're looking at, like fellowship match rates or fellowship placements, things like that, or something about the city. It would help a long way when you eventually come down to creating a rank order list.
Absolutely, absolutely. So if you have to leave one sentence, 10 words to followers, what would be, Romil and Sonal, your advice? Few words, what do you like to for them to remember?
This is a very difficult interview question. So I think I would say be confident on be confident and be yourself. And by being yourself, I mean really dig deep and be a person, be a normal person. That's what they're looking for.
Romil, one sentence.
I would say that be relaxed at first. I know it's an uneven situation where you are put against many people, especially when you are an IMG. So be relaxed at first, and then eventually be persistent, regardless of what the hurdles and what the ups and downs you have faced in the last few years. And there are many, many stories of people being matching after many years of struggle. So be persistent and you will get it eventually. So I would like to end this on a positive note of that persistence is the key, and eventually something good will come out of it.
So, audience, you have
Absolutely.
listened to both of them. They said be confident and be persistent. That's a message we're getting from of our two-star research scholars here. We would like to thank you both, Dr. Gandhi and Dr. Singh, for being with us today, sharing your experience. And we'll try to bring you back in very hopes within less than 20 days back to you on the channel to share your experience and other things. For our viewers, please like, subscribe our channel, and write in comment section what you'd like to hear back, and then we'll bring you more videos like that. Thank you for joining in.
Thank you for having us, Dr.
Thank you.
Kashyap.